Love that opening, Gulfstream Park, through the years, highlighted, of course, by Jimi Hendrix jamming out on that guitar back in 1969 as we gaze upon a live vista here on this Saturday, August the 15th. Beautiful day here with the light breeze blowing here in Hallandale Beach. We are fast, we are firm. We'll have 9 individual winners, or I should say 11 individual winners taking their photo in that winner's circle there here at GP. But look at that blue sky. Couldn't be a nicer day for thoroughbred racing this time of year in this part of the country. And with that 11-race Saturday card coming down the pike, want to welcome everybody to this Saturday edition of Gulfstream Park today. Jason Blewett joining you from our clubhouse studios. We forge ahead. We continue to write a new chapter here during the 2020 spring-summer season. And although there is not a technical stake on the program this afternoon, very good featured 10th race is again coming down the pike, and a worthy sort of atop the marquee, if you will. It's just a good field of older horses as we bring in the one and only Ron Nicoletti. And I like that field a lot, Ronnie, in the 10th. And although that'll be run on the dirt, we've got a bevy of turf races, including a 12-horse opener at about 12:05.
Yeah, if we got turf racing, everybody's happy. We got those big fields. We got a couple of 2-year-old races that are real interesting. So a great day. And we got $200,000 jackpot guarantee this afternoon in the Rainbow Six, which kicks off in race number 6.
They were playing for big money here yesterday in the Stronach 5. Now, we only had the one race, our Friday finale, in the mix, which was won by Mystical Moon, one of many short price winners. In fact, the first four winners paid between, 6 to 5 or 7 to 5 and 5 to 2 odds. And then you needed that $22 winner out at Golden Gate Fields, and you got over $1,700.
Yeah, I mean, in Gulfstream's race, there was only really a couple of horses you could use, so you put a good ticket together. Laurel Park was a small field, had a bunch of scratches in there, so it pays fantastic for $1,700.
Yeah, $440 on that 6 to 5 winner. That started a pretty chalky procession as, again, we move forward off that Friday afternoon here at Gulfstream Park and turn our attention to the 11-race Saturday card amid fast and firm conditions, and a day very much built around big fields and that $200,000 guaranteed pool in this afternoon's Jackpot Rainbow Six. As Ronnie mentioned a few moments back, that will start in race number 6, and a heck of a launching pad there. I like that matchup. It's probably going to be bet like a 3-horse race between Sonar. Ronnie Spatz has one. I'm a fan of the outside horse for Antonio and Don't Get Cozy. Some quality among the bigger players in the opening leg midway through the program. And you've got quality. In fact, a number of fairly glossy-looking lifetime resumes are on display with this cast of older horses in the early pick 5 and Saturday opener, which again is just a really nice scene set. I'm 4 deep here. I think they've got the right early favorite, yet I don't, and I picked the number 4 horse in Keep Quiet, yet I don't fully trust him. I don't think you can fully trust anybody in the race, and I included obviously 3 other horses, and I saw Ronnie actually. You like the 5 Mustang Cat, who was kind of like my Wise Guy Price horse for Peter Walder. I know that horse is your top pick.
Yeah, top pick. We'll talk about it in a couple of moments, but loves the turf. First off the claim by Peter. I was hoping I would get the 15-1 morning line up there right now. It's still 7-1. I'll take that.
Yeah, very early on in the betting, a good 55, 56 minutes before the race begins. You can see that single looming in the 3rd race, and not only is the 6 T.O. Will coming in off a strong last out effort, in fact, 2 recent efforts that are very sharp. I think that horse is just going to get a great trip in that race because the 2 other main players on paper, Congrats That and Legal Deal, are both run and gun types, and I think they set the race up perfectly for the number 6 T.O. Will in that $36 early pick 5 play. Gauging this group as a whole, and again, like I said, there are a number of classy resumes and a ton of these horses, beginning even with the 2 My Point Exactly, who's a tough old-time 8-year-old. I mean, they've really got some impressive back class at stake here, yet determining who is good as of about 12:05, 12:06 Eastern on this August 15th, I think is the biggest necessity you need to have in trying to suss out a winner. And although I don't love the fact that the 4 Keep Quiet did not run for Safi off the claim last time out, that race was back about 8 weeks ago, 2 months ago in the middle of June, and this is me having faith faith in Safi as he's gone back to the reset button. He'll bring back Keep Quiet off the bench, and I'm going to just, again, have faith in this barn with Edgar riding. I'm going to take the 4 Keep Quiet in a race we'll talk about a few.
Yeah, I'm going to show you a stat on Safi Joseph Jr. With just with the 61 to 180-day layoff claimers on the turf. He's good. He's 30%. You expect improvement today, 65% in the money, 185 return of investment. But I did go with the number 5 Mustang Cat on my ticket, 15 to 1 on the morning line up there right now at 7 to 1. Goes to the Peter Walder barn after the claim and faces dated claimers today on the turf. His first race. Now you go back, it was 8 claimers, open claimers on the dirt. But if you look at this gelding, he's 6 for 8 in the money on the turf, and he's never been beaten at this distance on the turf. He's 2 for 2, so I'm looking to get a little bit of a price. Horse runs exceptionally well on the turf. Peter does a real good job with horses first off the claim, so I took a shot. But you're right, the one to beat is the 4 in there, and then I threw in the 2. My point exactly. He was, dropping for Darian Rodriguez with Angel Aurelio in the saddle.
What do you do at My Point Exactly, who, again, has danced a lot of dances in a 60-plus race career, yet just has not looked like the My Point Exactly of even 3-4 months ago? And not harping on it, not trying to pick on anybody, but I noticed this barn that had put up some very big numbers at Tampa Bay Downs throughout their winter and spring meet is winless in 21 prior starters here at Gulfstream. And a lot of those horses, 8 of them were between 4 to 5 and 9 to 2. So this is not an outfit that has just brought big price long shots down from Tampa Bay Downs. And does Darian Rodriguez maybe get My Point Exactly turned around? I'm saying no, but he's a contender nonetheless.
Yeah, I got him somewhere on the ticket, but we'll see how that race plays out. I hope the 5 wins it.
The 7-horse Wingman, I thought might improve here for Bob Hess Jr. And the 8 Son of Oahu, I might argue, has the best recent form. Some of these horses are coming in off layoffs, but I think the 8 Son of Oahu is going to run well at a very big price early on. Now, we'll hit the main track, and the second race is very much, I think, a case study about who can go 7 furlongs. I think this is going to be a pretty taxing trip for these lower-level 2-year-old maiden claimers, and you're faced with a difficult task on paper because nobody's really run all that well or all that fast even for the level. And what complicates matters, I think, even further, collectively, there's no real favorite or horse to beat. Now, you and I wound up on the same trifecta, in fact, and I like the 9 Chucky. I'm willing to give this gelding by Brethren one more chance because all things being equal, granted, many of these horses haven't run at 7 before, but I thought he ran okay last time out trying this trip, and maybe he's a horse that's just going to have a slightly easier time at handling the distance.
You know, Juan Alvarado took over training completely for Arundel a couple of years ago, so I looked up a stat. And, it's not many, but I wanted to see how he did with 2-year-olds going maiden special weight to maiden claiming on the dirt. He's 3 for 7, 43%, 71% in the money. 359 is the return of investment. I just thought on the drop, this one was the one to beat. The other horse I had some interest in, and I know you did too, was the number 7, Current Hope.
Yeah, what'd you think of this horse? Did you watch this horse's first out race as far as the trip that he pulled?
Yeah, he closed along the inside. He was an okay third. I just thought he ran okay. You'll see it now. And, if he runs back to that, he could be dangerous. I'm guessing that the drop is going to help the number 9, Chucky.
And you've got the benefit in the camp of the 7, Current Hope, at being a second-time starter. And although he didn't really factor at all, he was kind of in fact, a very much one-pace type rail-running horse. There he is in that black cap as the number 3. I think he showed enough and ran well enough in a field like this that he might, with that one-pace chug-along style, he might be a horse that not only just improves as a traditional second-time starter, maybe he'll like the 7 furlongs as well. You've got 2 in the mix, including GG Conquest for Antonio. I thought that horse might like going 7. Looked like he had a little bit of trouble keeping up on the turn last time out, and then once they straightened away, he came back on again. Maybe more distance will help him out. A very difficult second race. The third is another dirt sprint here at 5.5 furlongs. It's a 12.5 to 10.5 3-year-old claimer. And I'm assuming, Ronnie, not only do you like I do, the recent form of the 6 Tio Will, it looks like two of his toughest horses that are both pretty sharp in the 3 Legal Deal and the 2 Congrats That. It looks like they are on a collision course here as far as their running styles, where they may just go head-to-head out of the gate, and I thought the 6 would just pull a really good trip.
Yeah, especially I think he's going to do very well, drop it to the 12.5 level and turn it back to 5.5 furlongs today. Just got nipped for that second money last time out when finishing third against those 25 2 lifetime claimers. Legal Deal I put in second because he's stepping up to face open competition today. He showed in fondness for wet track, so we don't know what we're going to get today. You got to see how he runs on the fast track, and then I use Young Raymond, who you have in second, who's going back to the main track. He broke from that outside post last time out for Antonio. Edgar Zayas in the saddle today.
The 4th, third consecutive sprint over the main, a 3-and-up filly mare, 3 lifetime $8,000 claimer. Gets led off on the outside by the 9 Blessed Beast and the 10 Kimura, who are both dropping down in class and taking realistic dips down. I'm a big fan of Jorge Delgado. Got lucky yesterday with Snap Hook in the featured 8th race. I just wanted to sit this one out with Kimura, whose form just went the other way and then some, as she returns off a 3-month layoff or so and is in for the 8K. Blessed Beast recent races are all right, and I prefer her of the 2 $8,000 class dippers outside, yet you've also got a couple of horses who need to be factored in, who are coming out of last out wins in the slop. Among them, the number 6, Beast of Wildwood, who I'm hoping that was not simply a sloppy track-aided victory. I'd like to go into this thinking she's good now for Peter, and it just wasn't a case of her loving the off-track, that she's going to be as good trying the dry dirt this afternoon.
Yeah, I got to run the ticket. You don't know how she's going to do on the fast main track, but I did go with the 2-horse in here, Perfect Combination, who's dropping to this $8,000 level today. Dual for the lead. He finished third. He was beaten a half length against 14 2 lifetime claimers. That was going 6. That was on a good track that afternoon. Just a wide open race, and I didn't go with the outside horses myself. I went 2-6, and then I used Miss Chaplin. So I saw this race a little different than most people. I like the inside. We're in agreement with the 6. I'm going to go with those inside horses.
Well, you like the speed, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, Miss Chaplin's probably going to be speed along with the 2 Perfect Combination. And I'll tell you, that's one of the at least attributes that I thought might hinder, even if we get a good Kimura. It's not like she's going to get loose on the lead here.
Yeah, when in doubt, I always lean towards the speed, and I just thought that race sets up really nicely for the number 2 horse in that race.
We'll cash out the early 5 in an interesting 5th race, to say the least. This is one of the marquee undercard races today, just by virtue of it being a 2-year-old filly, open company made in special weight, where you've got, much like this upcoming first race, I mean, you've got 12 turf horses here. 10 of them, however, are first-time starters, and nobody has any prior turf experience. I don't know about a horse to beat per se, but in terms of just who's got the gaudy purchase price and the big pedigree, I think that pecking order is led off by your top pick in the 8 Speeding, and I wanted to pull her recent workout. In fact, I think this is 2 back for her on the morning of July 31st. Yep, it is, up at Palm Meadows, and I thought it was noteworthy not only because she just goes through her paces and was basically under wraps, essentially. She was not asked for anything in this 5/8 move in 103 and 4. I found it interesting and noteworthy. She was breezing alongside an older stablemate of hers in Meadow Beauty, who ran third yesterday in an allowance race and probably didn't want to stay the mile, but we know Meadow Beauty has really stepped up her game this summer, and to just hang with her, I get they didn't go 57 and 3 in that breeze, but to just lock heads with her and match strides, looks like a good work.
Yeah, just a beautifully bred $300,000 of Into Mischief. Their Into Mischief progeny have just been running great all over the country. You saw the work there, a couple back, Christian Torres in the saddle. And I just went with, I like this horse. I'm going to see how it runs, first time out for Mark. And, a lot of people, I always say this to the people, think that, well, if it's a $300,000 horse, why is he starting here? Mark does this all the time. He gets a race into him here in South Florida. He doesn't say, well, they're not good enough to win at Saratoga. He runs them down here. So I thought 8 Speeding had a good chance in there with the 5, but I want to hear about the 10, who I didn't use.
Well, that's Fuzia. I mean, she is coming out of that monstrous whole Bodemeister race, and this was something I was pining on about here in the Thursday first with I Am the Boss. And just to refresh everybody's memory, now Fuzia did not run well in this race, and we're looking at the chart, but you look at just how fertile and the kind of launching pad and springboard this sloppy track race from July the 11th has turned out to be. You've had 3 individual last-out winners, including I Am the Boss, who basically won from here to Miami in the Thursday first race on the turf. You've had Go Jojo Go, came out, won the Desert Vixen, and Con Lima came out with a sharp win in a 73 by, a race that came up fast, and she's probably stakes bound for Carlos David. There's not a ton of immediate turf pedigree in the family, but the fact that she's got afternoon experience is coming out of that monstrous race. I got to take her on top with Edgar here, hoping her speed against a bunch of first-time starters may help her maybe sidestep that tough outside post. I just have to take the 10 Fuzia. We've also got a B and Cone firster in the mix, and much like Fuzia, there's not a ton of immediate turf pedigree in the camp of the 9 Monastella, who's a filly by Travers winner and will take charge. The dam herself by Divine Park went 0 for 1. She's the second foal out of that dam. And you've got connections, Ronnie, I guess 3 weeks on the nose away from running in their Kentucky Derby together with Soleil Volante.
Yeah, you got the Reeves, and you have Patrick's daughter in there. So
Andy.
Andy just running. So I got a stat on Patrick Pincombe, which I found interesting. A 2-year-old, first-time starters, maiden special weight on the turf. He's 4 for 11, 36%, 64% in the money. 670 is the return of investment. So if you're looking for a little bit of a price, maybe use the 9 on your ticket.
I'm thinking Soleil Volante might be one of those winners, one of the 4 winners, and I think Ete Indian as well. I mean, Patrick's unleashed some good-looking 2-year-old turf horses, as that stat attests here locally at Gulfstream Park, and I think both those horses may have combined for half of that four-horse winning sample. That is a look at today's 5th race, led, of course, by the pricey Into Mischief filly in Speeding. As we do just that into this first break, we're back chasing the rainbow after this.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Round on her inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Sun is out. We are fast and firm from high above the grandstand and finish line on both the main track and the turf course here at Gulfstream Park. Beautiful Saturday for thoroughbred racing in the middle, smack dab, in fact, in the middle of August. I know it's Alabama Day up north in Saratoga Springs, and in keeping with more of an Alabama-type theme, Ronnie, in the opening leg of this Rainbow Six, we do have a number of 3-year-old fillies going to the post here, including a very important one in the 2 Sonar, and I'm curious to see who you have starting out this thing.
Well, I got 3 in here. I went with the 4 Sky Chaser on top, Sonar, and Don't Get Cozy, who's been running on wet tracks lately. And from using those 3 in race number 7, Too Deep again with the 2, 4, and 9, Donna Me Up, All American Jewel, and VK Legacy. And then in race number 8, boy, that's a tough one, but I figure I either got to go with the speed of Trevor's and on the 4, True Atka, or I got to use the whole field, which I cannot afford. And then in the 9th race, La Carabinita, who I like a lot this afternoon, along with Cookie Cove. Too Deep in race number 10 with Squeeze Adios and Mi 3%. And I closed it out with the 7 Cairo Campaign, the 2 Moving Sun, and the 1 Bridologist, who that race is another wide open affair. This is not an easy sequence this afternoon.
No, it's really not. Now, I think most are going to view this upcoming 6th race field, on the other hand, as a 3-horse affair. I certainly am, and you are too, because we boxed up the same 3, and they're probably going to be relatively close in terms of win price. The likes of the 2 Sonar, the 4 Sky Chaser, and the number 6 Don't Get Cozy. Sonar, to me, although I've got her 3rd, I think she's the most interesting, and we're going to talk about her first, by virtue of this just much the best, gaudy speed figure victory last time out. And this was this daughter of Brethren, who obviously has the green and white of Arundel, and she's a homebred for theirs. She had run okay during her 2-year-old season, yet this race we're looking at in mid-July was her first start in about 11 and a half months. And keep in mind, the horse she is looking in the eye right now, the 6, Lori Lupes, and running right by and wearing down, was a massive 3-5 favorite in this spot who would run so well with a gigantic number in her prior race for Saffie Joseph Jr. That was a legitimately good effort from the 2 Sonar, and you might just be dealing with the filly, Ronnie, who simply grew up during the winter in her offseason and is ready to come back and fire another big one.
And it looks like she's holding her form well. You see she's got a recent 5-furlong bullet workout in 59 flat, so it looks like she still has that, ability to run well in this spot. I did go with the 4 Sky Chaser on top, who's hoping to find just a tad more for the stretch drive after rallying to finish second, was beaten at half length at this level and distance for Ronnie Spatz. Miguel Vasquez, what a great day he had yesterday. He'll be a top Sky Chaser.
And then you've got Don't Get Cozy, who I like quite a bit in this race. And I'm chalking up those 2 lackluster performances in both the Azalea and the race against Dan Storo in that 4-horse field last time. I think she was miserable on the sloppy sealed track. She just did not fire at all in either of those races. And we'll see if she's just kind of a 2-hit wonder who got good for Antonio for a couple of races, or if she really disliked the wet tracks. I am going to the latter in that argument, and a good matchup between those three horses who are all pretty talented. The 7th race will start the late pick 5. We are on the turf, and a difficult late pick 5 opener. As Ronnie was saying with the Rainbow, this is not an easy, in fact, the entire card is just very tough, but the second half, exceptionally so. The 9 and 10 are probably the right starting points as far as like a dialogue goes, but I think both the 9 horse in All-American Jewel and the number 10, I Need the Tequila, have major flaws and issues. And I've got my eye on a speaking of I Need the Tequila, I've got the whiskey horse, Ronnie, on the rail.
20-1, I'm looking at it.
Big long shot, who I'll talk about in a second. I'm going all in today. Obviously, you can see in this $27 spread that I've got a single in that featured 10th race. I'm giving one more chance, and this is a very pivotal race today for me, Trace Porciento, where we find out if getting away from Cool Arrow is going to help him out, or if he's just simply a one-hit wonder who just ran through the roof in his stateside debut and just can't back it up. And it's an interesting argument with him, but I'm putting my faith in Mike Maker from that post for me, Trace Porciento, waking up today, getting a little more real estate to play with. Again, though, getting back to that point about All-American Jewel and I Need the Tequila, All-American Jewel has the most consistent turf form, yet she's winless in a baker's dozen. And then you've got I Need the Tequila, who's got Maker and Miguel, yet did not lift a hoof last time out. And watching that race, there was just nothing to see. She was basically on empty from the 5/8 Paul home. Does she maybe run a bit better in this spot? I use both in that late pick 5. I don't trust either. And I'm taking a lightly raced horse in the 1 Whiskey Song, like Ken Sweezy, worked for Jimmy Jerkins for a number of years. This filly has 1 race on the turf for Christoph, did not run at all in early May at Tampa Bay Downs from an outside post. Maybe she can't run at all. I'm willing to find out in a spot like this. I just didn't want to take a shorter price.
Well, I went with a 12-1 shot in here to show you how wide open this race is, and that's the 2 Donna Me Up, who's dropping to the 12-5 level and returning. If you look, looks like her best surface after failing to get on track. That was against the 16 maidens going 9 furlongs. That race was moved to a sloppy main track. Yeah, I guess I got All-American Jewel, and I used the 4 VK Legacy, but that is one wide open race.
It definitely is. The 8th is just as wide open. Maybe you don't have a 12-horse turf race. You've got 7. After a notable early defection of the 3, Biasaichi, who was going to take at least a little bit of money today. And what I find so fascinating with this crew of 3 and up filly and mare, 2 lifetime claimers on the dirt, you've got 7 now. 4 of them are coming out of the Jessica race here from July 23rd, and then the other 3 are rematching off a race here won by Private Message, who pulled a perfect trip and paid $5 a day later on July 24th. In the end, I was thoroughly confused, and I see you and I landed on the same potential winner, I hope, in the 5 Trevis. And I said, her race last time out was legitimately good. She vied outside, never had a breather, and buried the other speed horse that she had hooked early, left her in the dust, and was picked off by 2 very opportunistic late-running fillies. And I'm thinking maybe she's just slightly the speed of the speed and can wire this thing.
And that's how I looked at it. Let a little bit of drop to the 16 level. And, Lionel Reyes has certainly can help this horse get along and maybe steal this race on the front end. I used the 4 True Atka in second. But as I mentioned when I was putting my Rainbow Six stick together, you either got to use a couple of horses in there or go 9 deep, because it's that wide open.
On the turf for race number 9, a 2 lifetime 3-and-up filly mare claimer. I think very much led off by the firepower situated and posted towards the outside. My top pick, in fact, I'm hoping Ken Sweezy has a big day fairly late in the afternoon as far as the Gulfstream turf is concerned. Like him in the late pick 5 opener with Whiskey Song, and I like his horse here, the 10 Tony's Rose, who's just getting away from better as she dips down in for 12-5 claiming, and I like that move. Your horse, however, La Carabinita, I think you could probably replay. I've sounded like a broken record with her in her last 3 starts. She can't stay a mile. This is a much better distance for her as she goes 5.
Yeah, I mean, she's 5 for 6 in the money at this 5 furlong distance. Turns back, going to add blinkers this afternoon. First race after the claim by Victor Barboza. He's really good with first off the claim. Everybody knows that. And I use Cookie Cove in second in there, and your horse in third, Tony's Rose.
And Cookie Cove will just throw up her last race just because she ran fine. And is there an argument in this race, Ronnie? She's a little bit faster than La Carabinita, who maybe her speed has been dulled just a little bit because she's routed in 3 consecutive 1-mile turf races. Could this be a race where the great Cookie Cove, who ran well and was very game for second, she just could not match strides with the 2-horse, I'm praying for that, who, as you can see, was an overwhelming 4-5 favorite. Does Cookie Cove maybe get loose in here and get brave on the point?
Yeah, she can definitely do that. And the horse you were talking about, I'm praying for that, came back and won again. So comes out of a good race. And I saw it as La Carabinita and Cookie Cove, and that's the 2 I used on my Rainbow Six ticket.
Featured 10th race is another interesting dirt race, and it's an interesting dirt race at a pretty high level. And taking a page perhaps from the 8th, you've got a couple of very, very key and need to be talked about recent rematches in this spot. Kanane, the 2, and Harvey Wallbanger are coming out of that Sea of Tranquility race, which clearly I prefer more than you. I just think that was a salty field in the rearview mirror, and I like both those horses to hopefully grind and just peck away and get a piece of this thing. And then you've got the race we'll check out from the 1st of July, some 45 days ago, concerning the Darian Rodriguez horse, and I'm a G6, who ran a fine race with Angel Arroyo and got a good ride. And, of course, the horse for Terry Pompey and the 7 Squeeze Adios, who's in the colors of My Purple Haze and fought very valiantly alongside Over Deliver, who was a slight favorite for Safi and Frank Calabrese. Good effort by both these horses.
Yeah, very well. And Terry has Miguel Vasquez, returning on this hard knock and gelding. And that was my thought process. He just ran so well. Now, that track was on the other side of good that afternoon, but still ran well. I just think Squeeze Adios, I couldn't really separate Squeeze Adios and the 8-horse who you have on top of your ticket, Mitres Porciento. And I thought these 2, the other one from Mike Maker, were the 2 to beat for me in here.
Where do you stand? I mean, clearly you like the 8 Mitres Porciento. I mean, what's your take on him? I kind of, gave my dissertation when I talked about him being my single, my late pick 5. What are your thoughts?
Well, he failed to reel in his current nemesis, Cool Arrow, in consecutive races, going 6 furlongs. Mike Maker, he claimed in 2 starts back. He's good with horses stretching out in distance, and I just thought maybe without Cool Arrow in there, he's going to run well, and he's runs well at this distance. So we'll see how Mitres Porciento runs today.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a little concerned. I think this is going to be a very key pivotal race for Mitres Porciento, and if he doesn't run well here, he's probably going to be a horse that, although claimed for over 60 Gs, is going to start to work his way down the claiming scale. Is he kind of a one-shot, one-hit wonder off that race that he ran so well here in mid-April? I know he got a faster figure against Fast Pass, but he just didn't do all that much running in a race where there was just a screaming pace here May 21st. He could be a bit of a trap. I know that going in, but I'm going to give him one more chance here, getting a little more real estate. And you'd have to think, Ronnie, if the Smile Sprint was today, I mean, depending upon who might ship in, which given COVID and everything, you might not have a ton of shippers. Cool Arrow could be
Yeah.
the favorite in the Smile Sprint.
Well, yeah, we'll see how that plays out a couple of weeks down the road.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. 3 weeks, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's Kentucky Derby Day, right?
yeah,
Or Kentucky Derby weekend.
Well, which one? The Princess Runa they canceled. That's what it was.
Oh, that's been canceled.
yeah,
actually.
because that was a win and you're in.
A win and you're in,
And it was
right.
on Kentucky Derby Day. I was trying to remember
Right,
which
that's
one was.
Saturday. It's Saturday, September 5th or 6th. Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. 3 weeks down the pike. So, Cool Arrow has gotten so good for Terry, who once again has got Squeeze Adios as a big player in that featured 10th. The 11th had a major early defection. It was a race, and it's still very much a race surrounded by a lot of guesswork, but it looked like the 11 Soap was going to be favored here with Efren Loza and Edgard riding and a good-looking work tab. Yet that horse is an early scratch, which I think leads us into the direction of a couple of other firsters here, and it's just that kind of race where you've got the 7 Cairo Campaign for Kelsey Danner, the number 2 Moving Sun for Wesley Ward, who's got very good numbers with his debuting maiden claimers at Gulfstream. He's 8 for 32 for 25%, and then you've got the speed of the one Brightologist who gets Miguel and is obviously just a send from down inside.
Yeah, I got to go get to prove he can run against this level of competition on the turf, but a big scratch in there. I did scratch into Cairo Campaign in that $200,000 Son of Cairo Prince.
All right, who debuts once again for a trainer we like quite a bit. It's been a good summer down here for trainer Kelsey Danner as we take a little time out here on this Saturday edition of Gulfstream Today. Up to track announcer Pete Aiello for those scratches and changes.